Hello, and welcome to this overnight taste challenge. Not dawn yet, and it's so foggy, it'll be delayed. The light is subdued. Here are two 40% alcohol blended Irish whiskeys. This is Bushmills Irish whiskey, rich and smooth. It says 1608. Well, they have had distilling going on in County Antrim, but actually Bushmills didn't get started till 1786, and Black Bush didn't get introduced until 1980. So it was introduced 40 years ago. This is an odd product. Now their website has changed. They don't give us good information, but they used to say it was age years. Now they don't, so I'm calling it no age stated, but they used to say 8 years. And it's 80% single malt and only 20% grain whiskey, which is like flipped. Most blended whiskeys are 80% grain whiskey and 20%, about 20% single malt. So this one's higher grade, if you want to call it that, and it costs around $35. They've changed the label. If you look at this label, and then when I show you the website, you'll see they changed the label. They seem like they update the labels about every 5 years. And unlike regular Bushmills, this has a cork, not a twist cap. There's a little foil cap cover. Now the competitor is Trader Joe's Special Reserve. It is a special reserve. It's reserved for sale at Trader Joe's. And it is triple distilled, like most of your Irish and Scotch blended whiskey, Irish whiskey, sorry. And it was $14.99 at Trader Joe's. $14.99. I paid $30 for this, I think. Might have been $27. I think maybe it was $27.99. They had an unusually low price, which I found strange. But normally, if you find it for $30 even, you found a deal. It tends to be a little pricey. So basically double the price. So let's think. This is half the price of that. All right. And there's no age statement. We know it's at least 3 years. I'm talking about Trader Joe's. So green bottle helps protect it from the light, unlike the clear glass, which isn't going to protect it from any light damage. Joe Cobb says, "Morning, Ron. Had a couple of too many drinks last night. But was having fun with buddies. I have been doing well. Not over drinking lately. Oh, well, it happens. Yeah, well, got to watch it. Buddy was stressed out money-wise, so I took him out for a couple of drinks to forget about it. Maybe he had more than a couple, more than two. Okay, so this is like that kind of particle board cork. It's like pieces of cork that are held together with some kind of resin. It's not a true cork, but it is cork. It's not a true hunk of cork. And you see that on a lot of whiskeys. Don't chew on the mouse. Chew on a real mouse. Chew on a real mouse, not my computer mouse. All right. Talking to you know who. Yeah, we're talking about Crybaby. If you want to lay there on the desk, you could do that. That's fine. Lay there, relax. I know you kind of wore yourself out running back and forth through the house for a good long time. She likes to play, zoom, 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 zoom. And then she's like a child, She is a child. She's a kitten. All right, what are you looking at outside? See something? She saw a blue jay yesterday. She was all looking out the window. I had the windows open. It was warm. And I was like, yeah, I know you'd like to chase it. But she's afraid to go outside. Good thing. Now, the Black Bush is darker. It's not black, but it's deep gold. I guess you amber. Yeah. And the Trader Joe's is just gold. Nothing wrong with that, but it's gold. Now, do they have coloring added to these? Caramel coloring? I don't know. What do you want? You want to go out? That'd be ideal. Okay, you can go out. bet it won't be 2 minutes. You'll be crying to come back in. Johnny Jameson Jr. says, hey, Ronald, hello to you. All right. So website, can't show you Trader Joe's. Well, I mean, I could, but they don't list this on their website, so it wouldn't be applicable. Blackbush blended whiskey combines an exceptionally high amount, that's 80%. That's what the old website used to say. Malt whiskey married with a lighter grain whiskey, about 20%, and then matured in former Oloroso, sherry, and bourbon casks. Now, I don't know how long they age it, cast, and then transfer it to bourbon. They don't give those details. They never did. This unique recipe means Blackbush has rich fruity notes and a deep, intense character balanced by an incredibly unique smoothness. It's best enjoyed neat, over ice, or in classic cocktails. Well, how else would you enjoy it? You could drink it neat, like I'm doing at room temperature. You could put it on the rocks in a cocktail. There's no fourth option. I mean, you could cook with it, I guess. I guess that's the way you could enjoy it. The most seasoned of Irish whiskey drinkers know you can't beat Blackbush. Now they're selling it $41.99. Oh, yikes. That's online sales, you know. You go to the store, it's much cheaper. Total Wine and More or Walmart both have it. Walmart had it. They might have dropped it. I think they decide. I'm surprised that they still have that Johnny Walker High Rye on the shelf, because I never see people buying that. It looks like they were getting covered with dust, and they lowered the price to $20.27, which is much cheaper than the normal retail price of $40. Anyway, Blackbush $39.99. Wow, the price has really gone up since I bought it. Price has skyrocketed. Woof. No thanks. I was pleased with I'm telling you, I think it was $27.99, but I got something else. It was no more than $30. Now, why are they listing Roman Black Liqueur? That's kind of strange. It has nothing to do with Blackbush. Okay, anyway, Sambuca. It's like a licorice flavored drink, which is good. Okay, there's a clear Sambuca and the black, and that's from Italy, Rome, Italy. Okay. Clinking the mugs, clapping the hands. Cheers to you this early morning. Same back to y'all. Joe Cobb, says that's 41 US dollars. Is it only 40? It's only 40 Canadian here in Canada. Yeah, I don't get it, but hey, don't go buy those cans. You come over here and lay down. You were doing a great job laying down on the desk. That was perfect. Yep, that's to say he had a little sample bottle. He bought this pack where it had the regular Bushmills and they had the sample bottles of Blackbush and Redbush, which they no longer make. Redbush. I had some horrible hiccups today. Well, does anyone have any hiccup remedy? I don't. Drinking from far side of a cup, maybe. Thanks, Joe. Okay, well, I don't know anything about those remedies. Bushmills is a quality product for that price. I don't know. But for that price, I don't know. Yeah. $40, $41. Oh no. Well, I'm glad I got mine at the much lower price, and when it's gone, it's gone. You know, I'm getting down to the end. Maybe I got enough of definitely 2, maybe 3 more taste challenges. That's debatable. But there's other Irish whiskeys to try, right? Total Wine's got this Kilburn, which I did some research on it, and that's only $18.99. And I found out that Kilburn is made by William Grant and Sons, who owns an Irish distillery and, of course, Scotch also. But they make it, and it's mainly, I don't think it's completely sold at Total Wine and More. It's mainly sold to them. And I'd probably like it. Drewski Brewski said, Ronaldo Bafaldo. Cheers. Cheers to you. All right. Now, time to get because last night everybody was commenting and I was talking. I was having a good time, but the thing went on 41 minutes and nobody wants to watch that long thing. Okay. It was just after work. I worked over 8 hours, 8.5, and I was just like tired. Now, here we go. I got to remember that this Trader Joe's has a lot of oak flavor, very woody. Yeah, smells standard. What do you smell? Standard Irish whiskey, you smell multigrain. Corn, most likely, is the grain they're using. Doesn't have to be corn. Single malt, which is that bready note. And sometimes they could add other things, I guess. All right. But it has to be a blend of those two. Much richer in the nose, like much more bountiful. And that sherry cask, I've never had Oloroso sherry, so I don't really know what that tastes like. But I have a general idea. I know what sherry tastes like. I like sherry. Can't drink too much of it. It's powerful, 18, 19%. Can't drink sherry like a regular glass of wine unless you're really looking for trouble. Same thing with port wine. That's why those glasses are sherry glasses be very tiny. Taste. Sweet, a little wood, smooth, medium body, dry finish, a little bite in it. They've got a little bitiness underneath the wood, like a little. So a little less refined than you would want, but that's why it's $14.99. I mean, yeah, they're going to claim on the bottle it's like the finest grains, the greatest barrels, it's the most wonderful thing in the world, and it's only $14.99, which obviously it's not the most wonderful thing in the world. Probably the cheapest Irish whiskey you can buy in Louisiana at this point, though. I bet you there's not another store sells Irish whiskey cheaper than $14.99. If they are, I'm not aware of them. Definitely not aware of them. Albertsons did have the Drum Castle, and they always had that down to $14.99 on sale, but hadn't seen that around lately. I think they dropped it. They must have. It's not on the website anymore, unless it was out of stock for a while. I don't know. This one's lighter bodied. Over here, this is much lighter bodied. Thin. This one has a little body. I'm getting the oak, like ex-bourbon, like the charred oak. So not as much bite, a little bit. Now, I think this is the Jameson Black Bush. Can I tell by the darkness? Yeah. Well, I made sure I had the labels, you see, just to be sure. You can probably see I have labels below. I don't want to tip the whiskey. I got the labels facing down so I can't see them and get tipped off. Okay, the Black Bush tastes better. Is it twice as good? Is it worth paying double the money? I can't see that. And what am I talking about? Double the money. If they're showing $41, that's more than twice. 15 times 2 is 30, not 40. Oh. It doesn't justify the price difference. It's up to you. You say, oh, I don't mind paying an extra $20, $25 actually. I don't mind paying an extra $25. We'll go for it. It's fine with me, especially since I'm not the one paying for it, but I don't know. Personally, I would make the trade-off and get this one. It's a good substitute. It's not up to the level. 15 times 3 is 45. Minus 3 pennies, $44.97 versus $41.99. And you got 3 bottles here, and you got 1 bottle here. I just don't think. I just think that it's clear cut. Okay. I always love your watching your stream, says Johnny Jameson. Thank you. Yes, love the streams. Is peat more of a Scotch thing, not Irish? Generally, yes. I have tried a couple of Irish whiskeys that had a peaty note, like the Drumcastle, and they make peated Irish whiskeys, yes, but that's common for Scotland, uh, uncommon for Ireland. Well, actually, most Scotch whiskeys I try are not peaty. Some are, like Johnny Walker Red Label, very smoky, peaty. Even more so, Johnny Walker Double Black, but many are not. Grant's, there's no peat there. Chivas Regal 13, that extra, the barrel rye cast finish, not peaty. But Valentine, not peaty. That Legacy from Sazerac, that's not even good, but you know, it's like tastes like caramel candy. Werther's original. Well, I guess that's good, but that's not what I was expecting when I tasted it. Winn-Dixie's the same. I think it's the same Scotch with two different labels on it because it's from the same parent company. But anyway, you know what I mean. Now you want really peat, a whole lot of peat and smoke. Get Ardbeg aged 10 years. That's my favorite whiskey so far. Crazy. Okay. Sherry cast finished Scotch is very good, but very pricey. I don't buy it anymore, says Jacob. Can't argue with that. I feel like Scotch is a little sharper than Irish. Yeah, Irish goes down easier most of the time. Aran Irish whiskey is smooth and sweet. I'd like to try Aran. I've heard that. Good old Jameson. I believe it or believe it or not, I found a full bottle of Jameson for $5. That doesn't seem right. Crazy. The price has gone up to 40. I know. What does the peat mean? Well, peat, P-E-A-T. It's comes out the ground. It's like dirt, but it's old rotted vegetable matter that ferments, I guess you'd say, in the ground for thousands of years, and then it turns into like coal, like charcoal. And they dig it out the ground into like bricks, and they let it dry, real dry. Then it lights. They light it on fire, and they use that peat to burn to make the fire to roast the barley malt. And then the smoke gets in the malt, you see, and infuses the malt with that smoky, peaty aroma, which some people love and some people hate. And that's what they mean. And they have beers that they do that with, those Roch beers, where they roast the malt in an oven and let the smoke infuse the malt, which some people love, like myself, and other people hate. They say, I do not want to drink a beer that smells and tastes like smoked pork. You know, it just is a very bizarre flavor. And I understand it's a niche beer. 99% of people probably not going to like it. Yeah, they burn, like I said, they burn peat to dry the malted barley so it gets a distinct taste. Well, to roast it. It's hard to explain. It's from the earth, right? And they got videos. We used to watch when I was in elementary school. They would show us films, you know, old film on a reel, but like in geography class. Here's what they do in Ireland to heat their homes. Now that probably wasn't even true in the 70s. They were probably using modern furnaces, but they were saying the poor people in Ireland, in Scotland, they were showing them putting in the fireplace. And I was thinking, oh, that's really interesting, you know. And then, but like they would say, oh, the Dutch people wear wooden shoes, the children wear wooden shoes, and they would show films of children wearing wooden shoes, probably only in a museum setting today. But like I grew up thinking our Dutch children had the wooden shoes. You know, that's what we were taught. Okay. And then French people live in apartments. And they only bathe like twice a week. That's what they taught us. I had French teachers went to France, and they said, here's your towel for the week. They went to Paris on probably some state-funded visit, like educational visit. But they did tourism too. But they went to the hotel and they're like, here's your towel for the week. They said, a week? Oh, they said, "Oh, you're American." Oh, yes. But that's what they were saying. Now, I never been to France. We flew over France 3 years ago. It looked like ground. It was at night. You could see ground. But they were saying they don't like. They're not big into deodorant or bathing somewhere. And that's probably old stereotypes that may have been true in 1957. Something. I don't know. I'm just telling you what they told us in school. Portal says he can confirm that we still wear wooden shoes. Okay. Rye can be spicy. Yes. I have a pair myself, says Portable Portal. So I wouldn't like it. You might like it, Drewski, if you tried it. Places change, right? What were stereotypes back in the day that aren't always true? Yeah, like Louisiana people like fiery hot food. That was true when I went to elementary school. See, my parents didn't cook spicy food. My father was from Baton Rouge and my mother was from New Orleans, and they mainly grew up in the New Orleans suburb, Metairie. And they just didn't eat spicy food. They put a little seasoning in it. When I went to elementary school here, where these people are along the river, spaghetti meatballs was like fiery hot, spicy and fiery hot. You'll be wiping your forehead with a napkin. Red beans and rice, fiery hot. White beans and rice and sausage. Everything was. So I got used to it, And then now, once you get used to really hot food, then spicy hot, then you don't want to go back to the regular. And I remember going to high school, it was still like that. Now today, no, it all died away. Most Louisiana people I know do not like spicy food. But that would have been applicable 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 40, 50 years ago. But as more people moved in from out of state and Louisiana people traveling around and getting used to more standardized food, then that died out. Most people I know don't. There are some, yes, of course, but most don't. Like people think people in Louisiana speak French. I remember 50 years ago riding around on road trips, and you would stop to go use the restroom somewhere at a bar or whatever, and they would all be speaking French. I remember go to the grocery store, all the old people so French was common then. And I didn't understand what they were saying, but all the people 40, 50, 60 years old be speaking French, or as they say, talking French. They're talking French. Today, no. Maybe way out in the country, like in Backvashery places. Not all Americans are ignorant and far right, like Europe loves to claim. Oh, ignorant and fat. But he said far right. I was like, what? Not all Americans are ignorant. Most Americans, most Canadians, most Europeans are ignorant of most things because people don't put an emphasis on education. Fat. Americans have a weight problem, yes. Generally. Will martial law come into place? Now what is it? I'm a prophet now? Maybe with the all right. Peacetime is better than wartime. Okay, well, we don't want to get off onto some whatever. Okay. I'm just telling you about the general perception of things. My grandmother grew up in the 1920s. She was little. She was born in 1920, right? So as a little kid playing in the neighborhood, it was in the 1920s. And she was not allowed to play with Italian children. They had children down the street, Highland Road in Baton Rouge, and her mother said, you can't play with them. They're dirty people, meaning morally, like maybe she meant physically and morally they were bad. They're bad people. Can't play with them. My grandmother said, can you believe that? I said, I can believe it. Just couldn't play with them. Thanks for the stream. I love habanero hot sauce, but not the chilies in my drink. Now, I kind of like those chili beers, chili pepper beers. I mean, you wouldn't want to drink them every day. Maybe once a week, something like that is like a little differentiation. All right, so closing up. I really do like the Trader Joe's Irish whiskey. I give it a B plus, like about an 80, let's say 88 out of 100. Maybe that's pushing it too high. Maybe it's just an 86, 87. But I'm gonna say it's enjoyable. I'm gonna go with a B plus. And to get a B plus whiskey for $14.99, yes, indeed. She's over there sleeping now. Got yourself worn out, huh? Spicy beers are interesting. Obviously the Black Bush is a lot more enjoyable, but I'm not gonna say $25. That's the problem there. 25 extra dollars. I've run into this problem with bourbon, run into this problem with scotch. You know, you say, oh yeah, it's better, but then you say $40 better, $30 better. Then you start to question it. I can only speak for myself, you understand, but I have to start questioning it. All right, so that's it. Do I plan to do one for Wednesday? Yes. I might have to do it today in anticipation of Wednesday because Wednesday could be a problem. Good job, Ron, laughing out loud. You mean you don't really believe I did a good job? You're making fun of me? All right. So 2 good products, and you decide which one you want to entertain. What's coming up next? Well, I have to close out with Red Bush. You know that. I knew something was up with Red Bush because the regular price, you know, was around $25. Not too bad, actually. Then local stores around here started having crazy prices like $9.99 for Red Bush, Bushmills Red Bush. I say $9.99. That's peculiar. So I bought one for $9.99 and I went through it. And then I got an alert from a friend, said they got another one. Another place got it for $9.99. I say, yeah, go ahead and get it because, yeah, that's the deal. But I'm thinking, I said, I bet they're getting rid of this product. So, of course, they did get rid of it. Usually when you see that happening, that's a sign that it's going bye-bye. When you start seeing these crazily low prices. Couldn't understand why Walmart was selling Jose Cuervo Tradicional Plata. Not the regular Jose Cuervo Silver. The cheap, you know, kind of cheap one. I'm talking about Jose Cuervo Tradicional, the 100% agave, the really good Jose Cuervo, the much more refined product that they came out with in the late 70s. Walmart was selling it for $21.99. I said, well, everybody else got it for $30-something. And they selling it for $21.99. I said, they're getting rid of it. And I guess they have gotten rid of it, but I wasn't going to go run after it. I already have a bottle and I got most of it left. All right, well, y'all take care. Bye-bye, everybody. Get ready for the next one, the Bushmills Red Bush. And then we're moving on to, well, I got a lot more Irish whiskeys. Got a lot of them. They're getting kind of low. Most of them getting low. But I have a good deal of them. You take care too now over there in the Netherlands. And all right, everybody, bye-bye.